One of the greatest learning tools you can use in your life is your failure and other people's failure as well. You see, unfortunately, failure has this huge negative connotation, when in actuality, it's truly a great thing because you can learn so much from one failure than you would have from a giant success. Failing puts you in a situation where you have to learn something to change what's happening right in front of you. And it's all about those decisions and those changes that you make. Then you want to make a note of everything that went wrong and how to avoid that the next time you try again. You can also look at other people and how they have failed.
Biggest mistake that people make in social media is that they let their posts live forever. I think we are about to go through a huge transformation in digital media for the simple reason that people are starting to recognize that our privacy is disintegrating in a lot of respects, whatever it may be. Every person you retweet, repin, repost, renote, regram on social media defines who you are. And there are applications now who are collecting every bit of that and creating profiles about you and anticipating what you're going to do next.
And figure out what they did wrong in order to try to figure out how to do something right. Because there's so many people out there who have failed and just given up and stopped. And that's not the mentality you need to have. You need to make sure you'll do whatever you can to not give up. You can fail time and time again, but you know that you're going to pick yourself up and go after that goal harder and faster than you've ever gone before, because you know all you have to do is succeed one more time than you fail. You need to get up after you fail every time, because you don't know when that success is going to come. It could be the next time after you fail. But you'll never know that if you just give up. That's when all your dreams and your goals are just cut short because you gave up and there's nothing that you can do about it. So you need to have the mentality of never ever giving up, because you never know what can happen when you get back up from a failure.
And so you are, by what you do on social media, you are creating a profile about yourself. And that is going to be used not just by online companies, but that's going to be used in every walk of life. You're going to go look for a job and they're going to run an online social media analysis of you and use that as a psychological profile. And you send somebody a message on CyberDust, 30 seconds after they open it, the message disappears. And we store it nowhere. It cannot be used as part of your digital footprint. Think of this another way when it comes to messaging. When you send a text, be the most benign text, yes, I want to buy something. When you send it, the minute you hit send, you lose ownership of that text. Whoever you send it to now owns that text.
Well, my partner, Todd Wagner, came to me. We both went to Indiana University. And back then, if there was a basketball game we wanted to watch or listen to, if it wasn't on national broadcast television, you were just out of luck. And so he said, you know what, with the internet happening, this is 1995, you're a geek, there's got to be a way you can figure out for us to listen to games other than literally having somebody hold up a radio to a speakerphone that was living in Indiana. So I geeked out, bought a computer, put together an ISDN line, and we started a company called Audionet. Went around to radio stations, colleges, and said, look, you know, we're a chance for all your listeners and fans to hear games and hear shows around the world. And we had no idea what would happen. Literally, we started with $3,000 and put up the site, and we just hustled, and 2 weeks later the site was crashing from too much traffic, and we were getting emails 24 hours a day, people listening around the world, and we knew we had something. When I bought the Mavericks, it's been 12 years now, I actually thought I owned the Mavericks. In the reality, even though I write the checks, it's the community, all of North Texas, that owns the Mavs. When you win, everybody's in a good mood. When you lose, everybody, you know, is down, and there's just no other business like it. And in terms of the emotions attached to it and the fanaticism, you know, if a company has, if Dell Computer, if somebody has a bad quarter, HP has a bad quarter, you know, maybe some shareholders are upset a little bit, but there's not 1,000 blogs, you know, saying fire the ball. Any of those things. And if I don't understand how to apply it to my businesses, I mean, I remember selling PCs and software and walking in saying, you don't need to use that pen and paper on a notepad or a ledger pad. Now we're going to give you a spreadsheet, and by the way, here's a spreadsheet that costs $495, and I had to pay to go get trained on how to sell it, which is crazy now when you think about it. But then we said, okay, now you can play what if. Then we said you can connect these PCs. Unless I understood the technology, how was I going to explain it? How was I going to understand it? Unless I understand it now, how am I going to invest in it? You know, then I got to go trust somebody who says, oh yeah, I know AI, and maybe they do, maybe they don't, and it's really easy. Okay, so you figure it out. That's just not my style. I mean, if you truly believe AI is going to change everything, how are you going to understand what people are doing to change everything unless you at least have a foundational understanding of it? Now, I'm not going to build a 1,000,000-layer neural network and try to change the world. I'm not going to show you, I'm not going to write a research paper and saying, here's why the lottery ticket approach works, and you can build smaller neural networks with less data and be more, resource efficient. But I can read that stuff and understand that when somebody says, okay, we're building this project and we need this size data set or this size data set, or we need this amount of resources, I can ask questions and understand the answers. A Fiat X19 that had a hole in the floorboard. I mean, you can tell I was living the high life, right? I mean, and I was putting in oil every 60 miles and, working as a bartender at night. What did I have to lose? And so it wasn't like, oh man, I could lose all this. And so, yeah. And so it was just like, you just go for it. Now, later on, after I'd had some success and we got back and we started Audionet, which turned into broadcast.com, the math was different. The equations, the calculus was different. It was like, okay, I'm investing a lot of my saved money into this whole idea of netcasting, right, or internet broadcasting in early 1995 when people didn't even know what the internet was. That was all risk because I literally was putting everything that I had on the line for something. People just laughed at me and said, wait, audio over the internet? You can turn on the radio. You can turn on the TV. Yeah, but you don't get it. No, that's just dumb, right? And so being able to overcome all that resistance, because remember back then, A, you had to have a PC, B, you had to know what a modem was and install it, C, you had to know what the internet was, and then you had to download a TCP/IP client that worked over a modem and then connected to a browser that you probably didn't even know what it was or how to download it. And we had to take it on faith that all this was going to grow.
Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let us know what you thought down in the comment section below.